Just looking for a little revenge from the last time these two teams got together. You called it. It was lopsided in favor of Texas.
Yeah, 25-point game, and the Texas guards have got to bring it in this one. They're the scoring for the Longhorns.
Matt Coleman has been a rock at the point for Texas. He has missed only one game in his 4 years for Shaka Smart. And he's back there with the inspirational story, Andrew Jones. Losing it along the baseline was Courtney Ramey, but it's out of bounds off of Baji, so it will stay with the Horns to start. 9 to shoot.
Kansas starting out in man-to-man, and they've been switching screens and exchanges. And when Jericho Sims sets a ball screen, he rolls really hard to the basket, and he's going to have to get picked up. He drags that defense with him when he rolls that hard.
Ramey turns it over. Short hops it to Andrew Jones. Well, Shaka Smart last season, at least at the start of last season, his job was in question. Well, he has more than answered that job security with the season Texas has had this year. They've basically been ranked the whole year in the top 15.
Shaka Smart is a great basketball coach, and it was just a matter of time before he had this team ranked in the top 10. So it's not a surprise they've done this well.
There's a gimme for Jalen Wilson to start, as Jericho Sims couldn't handle the rebound.
Jalen Wilson, one of the best rebounders in the Big 12. He goes to the glass and goes to the offensive glass every time a shot goes up.
Greg Brown a step back, and the freshman hits the backboard first. Created the long rebound for Sims. In close, Brown draws the foul.
Well, Jericho Sims bailed him out there because that was a bad shot by Greg Brown. But Sims got the offensive rebound, pitched it back to him so he could go to the basket and get fouled.
You always talk about the best coaches at this time of year having their teams playing their best basketball at this time of year. 7-1 for Bill Self after a 4-4 start in the Big 12.
Well, he's not in the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame for nothing. He knew he was going to figure it out. But this is not his most talented team, but it's a team that's very much together. And their defensive improvement, especially over the last 5-6 games, has been really impressive.
Shot clock down to 8. Garrett across the lane, rolls it off the side of the rim. Brown fights for the rebound with Coleman, and it looks like it will be a held ball, and that'll give it to Kansas.
Boy, that was a nice job defensively, not just by the Texas team, but by Greg Brown in particular on that initial drive by Marcus Garrett. You know, he stayed with Garrett, didn't go for those shot fakes. Now a little flex look out of bounds underneath.
Abaji, yes.
Well, he's the top three-point shooter for this Kansas team. That's his 62nd three on the year.
Abaji averages about 2.5 threes made per game, second best in the league. Now it's McCormick down low, score the basket. At least that looked to be the initial signal from John Higgins. And it is a chance for a three-point play for David McCormick.
Just a little middle ball screen right about the top of the key. And a great roll by David McCormick. Nobody picked him up, and then Jericho Sims had to not only stop the ball, but then recover to McCormick. And if you're guarding the ball, you have got to take away vision. You can't let the passer just window shop, you know, off that pick and roll.
Strong drive along the baseline by Greg Brown.
And that's what he's got to do, is drive the ball. You know, if he's wide open, he can shoot it, but taking challenge jump shots is not where he's most effective. He needs to get to the rim. He's so athletic.
McCormick across the lane. Comes up short with the left hand. Andrew Jones the other way. Leaves one for Jericho Sims. Nice shot fake by Jones. Can't connect for three. And the rebound to Marcus Garrett. Jalen Wilson off balance. Soft touch.
What a shot to get that over Jericho Sims.
Sims goes right at McCormick, and he has a chance for a three-point play.
I'm not sure, Bob, that's a move that Jericho Sims would have made last year. A much more confident and prepared player this year, and he was spectacular in the first game against Kansas in Allen Fieldhouse.
On the line, shooting one, Jericho Sims.
All right, Carl, thanks very much. We welcome you to Austin. Bob Wischusen, Jay Billis just underway. Kansas with the early 4-point lead against Texas. KU riding the strength of a 5-game win streak into tonight's game. They went from unranked a couple of weeks ago back up into the top 17. Jay, against a Texas team that lost an 18-point lead on Saturday to West Virginia. Still, though, they're ranked 14th. It's two very dangerous teams.
Very dangerous teams. In Texas, the strength of the team is in its guards. That's where the scoring comes from for the Longhorns. And Kansas likes to get the ball inside first to David McCormack and play through him in the post. And it's a team that's really improved on the defensive end, especially over the last 5, maybe 6 games. And Bob, Kansas got off to a great start. Then in January, it started with Texas beating this Kansas team by 25 points in Allen Fieldhouse. And then Kansas in January, the first time since James Naismith, I think, invented the game, they were out of the top 25. But then in February, they've caught fire again, especially over the last 5 games. They've been excellent, and defense has led the way.
Andrew Jones with a backdoor cut pass to Matt Coleman.
Boy, just a beautiful cut as the action was going toward the left side of the court. That backdoor cut, you can always cut to the basket, and it's going to be a good decision, especially if your man loses vision, your defender loses vision of you and gets locked on the ball.
Abaji a step back. That's a little too strong. And the tap by Jones to himself.
It's going to be important for the Texas guards to rebound. They've got to get to the defensive glass and help out the big guys.
Matt Coleman, beautiful little pocket pass to Royce Hand.
Matt Coleman is a rock out on the floor, coming off a game in which he had 20 points, 7 assists, and only 1 turnover against West Virginia.
Wilson misses from the corner. It's out of bounds. And we are tied at 9 early on. We're on ESPN, but if you're watching us on ESPNU right now, all of our coverage over to ESPN. So switch there when we come back. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit Progressive.com. And in part by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2021 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. With standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus up to 33 miles per gallon. An available 260 horsepower turbocharged engine, advanced technology, and an available extra-large touchscreen. The best Outback ever. The 2021 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you.
Lease a 2021 Outback Premium for only $289 a month for 36 months at Subaru Pacific. Complimentary maintenance included.
With a full range of BMW X vehicles available, no matter what adventure lies around the corner, there's an X for that. Hurry in, use the 2021 BMW X5 S-Drive 40i for $679 per month.
They call you really big, Carl? Must be those triple sauced meat heaps. How about you cloak me in cheese? Drape me in a 3-piece patty suit like a beef tycoon.
The really big Carl is back. Feed your happy.
Screen coverage a little bit over the last 5 games. Christian Brown here zoning up, and we're going to see and there's Matt Coleman over in the corner. Going to see a little side ball screen. Kansas is going to basically switch it with Mitch Lightfoot, and Christian Brown never picks up that back cut. He could have maybe stolen the ball. That's about it. But if you're not going to have vision of Matt Coleman, that was an easy backdoor cut and a terrific play by Texas.
And a terrific play by Mitch Lightfoot to tip in that miss at the front of the rim to put KU back on top. Jay, where are the biggest improvements you've seen at the defensive end for Kansas of late? Because that seems to have flipped the switch for Bill Self's team.
Well, first, I think they're doing a better job guarding the ball. Kansas, early on in the season, I thought did a very good job guarding the ball where they didn't have to help much. You know, if you don't get beat off the dribble, help side defenders don't have to come over and help you out, and you're not put into rotation where you can have breakdowns. And then I think they're doing a better job passing the ball and moving the ball. They're harder to guard as a result. They're able to cut, and I think their movements into ball screen action, they're getting separation. And that's certainly helped their offense, because it's not a team that scores easily, Bob. It's they're not bad defensively, but they're not like some of their former teams that could put up 100 on you in a hurry.
Jalen Wilson threw that one away, though, and Kai Jones will go to the free throw line. Off the fast break for Texas. Texas off to a 5 for 10 start from the field.
And that's one thing I think, although you give credit to the Texas defense, that drives Bill Self crazy, and that's not being strong with the ball and just pitching it up there for grabs, because you cannot defend against a run out. You know, all of a sudden your opponent is playing ahead of your defense. You can't play 5-on-5 on the defensive end and get your defense set.
Kai Jones at the free throw line. Here's a young man from the Bahamas that was less than 6 feet tall when he was in junior high. Didn't make his junior high school basketball team. But then all of a sudden, after becoming a long jumper, high jumper on the track and field team, experienced quite the growth spurt once he got to high school. He went from sub 6 feet to now 6'11", and I think he realized basketball probably should be in his future.
Yeah, long-armed, rangy. There's another turnover as Bryce Thompson wound up going off his leg. But Kai Jones is athletic as all get out. A lob threat. He can drive it. Good feet. He'll take the occasional deep shot where you're scratching your head a little bit, but some of them go in when you don't think they should. He shoots a good percentage too. He's made 11 threes, about 44% from three-point range, but it's not always the ones you think he should take. That's a really good
Coleman
decision
fouled
there
by Lightfoot.
And that's a good decision by Matt Coleman there. They were trying to down that side action, that side ball screen. They call it ice for isolation. Just keep it on that side, and instead of trying to get to the right side, just take it down the baseline side and throw back. Kansas is switching all these screens and exchanges. Texas just had screen for the screener action, and Kansas switched it to take it away.
Lightfoot that time got the block on Royce Ham. 5 to shoot. It will stay with Texas.
There's the switch and the drive, and what a beautiful job with that bounce pass, and Royce Ham in really good position there. That's called the dunker spot. You stay behind the defense and you have a great opportunity, because the defense then has to turn its head to find you. And if they happen to step up at all, you got an easy layup.
Christian Brown squaring off with Kai Jones. The lob, and just missing it was Jericho Sims.
The officials doing their jobs there, telling the players not to lean on each other, but you can't play post defense without leaning. I mean, it's a physical game.
Brown from deep. Coleman, no look pass down the lane to Kai Jones.
Now, Bob, that was a sprint and a high jump. That's the track athlete in Kai Jones. Sprinted the floor rim to rim, and a sort of a long jump, high jump hybrid.
Abaji lost it. Jericho Sims finds it.
What great defense by Matt Coleman. Stayed in front, able to knock the ball away. Jericho Sims as well switched out.
Great hands by Marcus Garrett. What a whistle. What's that long jump, high jump combination you talked about?
Quick outlet, and he just took off and outraced some good athletes in blue to get all the way to the rim. But the start of it was the quick outlet pass to Matt Coleman, who immediately advanced it up court off the dribble. And Coleman's having some fun out there distributing the ball. He's such a fundamentally sound player.
Shot clock down to 7. Courtney Ramey will drive it, scoop it, and score it around Abaji.
How about that first step by Courtney Ramey? He's coming off a great game against West Virginia. 28 points. He was 7 of 8 from 3 against the Mountaineers.
There's Bryce Thompson with a spin move in the lane, and he has been injured at times this season, and when they have not had him, Bill Self said that's been a major problem for the depth of Kansas.
Well, he's a mid-range scorer, and having him back in the lineup gives them added depth. He can handle the ball. He's got some quickness on the perimeter. Bryce Thompson's a good player.
Well, this Texas team didn't only blow a lead against West Virginia, but they had a tussle on their own bench that may have impacted the outcome. We'll explain.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2021 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. With standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus up to 33 miles per gallon. An available 260 horsepower turbocharged engine, advanced technology, and an available extra-large touchscreen. The best Outback ever. The 2021 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you.
Lease a 2021 Outback Premium for only $289 a month for 36 months at Subaru Pacific. Complimentary maintenance included.
With a full range of BMW X vehicles available, no matter what adventure lies around the corner, there's an X for that.
Hurry in, lease a 2021 BMW X5 S-Drive 40i for $679. Come on.
Well, if it isn't Big Carl, you fixin' to sauce me up? Sick those beefy twins on this cheese hound? Scram, Big Mac, go play with your extra toy bun. The adults are getting meaty.
Hurry to Carl's Jr. for the Big Carl. Feed your happy.
It was a big lead in the second half. Texas by 18 at one point Saturday over West Virginia, but this is Andrew Jones. He has the responsibility, it seems, of Sean McNeil of West Virginia, and just falls asleep. A miscommunication that leads to a wide open three, and that miscommunication led to a standoff of communication on the sideline. Bob Wischusen and Jay Billis watching this game from Austin. And Jay, what did you make not only of this disagreement between Jones and Ramey, but the impact it had on the game from that point on?
Well, it seemed to have an impact. I mean, I know that Fran Fraschilla pointed out during the broadcast that keep an eye on this. This is maybe the start of things falling apart a little bit, but it's hard to really blame that. They had a 14-point lead at the time when that happened. And, the good news is they were arguing and fighting over defense rather than fighting over shots, as the stereotype is of some basketball players. But they're competitive guys, and I think Shaka Smart had said to us there are a lot of stressors right now for players everywhere. That's not an excuse for things. They had a players-only meeting, and competitive people have issues like that from time to time. So I don't think it's a long-term issue. We'll see, but it certainly doesn't seem to be.
Shaka Smart said, we've all seen altercations among players. Happens all the time. He said, I don't know if I've ever seen it, though, with a 14 or 16-point lead before. But the timeout just a moment ago while we were away in this game, I mean, it seems like bygones are now bygones, because there's Andrew Jones and Courtney Ramey sitting next to each other, and they seem to be regular old teammates again.
Well, I think anybody who's ever had an older brother knows that just because your older brother beats the heck out of you and you fight doesn't mean you're not great friends and love each other and all that. And I don't think it's that much different with basketball. Competitive people are going to lock horns, no pun intended, from time to time. But I don't think it's a long-term issue, and I don't think that's the reason they lost, honestly. It might have been a reason, but it wasn't the reason.
Jalen Wilson picks up his first as Andrew Jones goes to the free throw line. And in his return from leukemia, he's the third leading scorer in Big 12 conference action. So not only has Andrew Jones come back from a debilitating disease, but he has come back after scoring 9 points a game in the non-conference schedule to be tied third in Big 12 play at 18.5 points a game, and at times offensively carrying his team. And now he's carrying them defensively here with Greg Brown in the corner, forcing a timeout. We'll step aside for 30 seconds as Bill Self continues to be pleased.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2021 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. With standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus up to 33 miles per gallon. An available 260 horsepower turbocharged engine, advanced technology, and an available extra-large touchscreen. The best Outback ever. The 2021 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you.
Lease a 2021 Outback Premium for only $289 a month for 36 months at Subaru Pacific. Complimentary maintenance included.
With a full range of BMW X vehicles available, no matter what adventure lies around the corner, there's an X for that.
Hurry in and use the 2021 BMW X5 S-Drive 40i for $679. Come on.
Well, if it isn't Big Carl, you fixin' to sauce me up? Sick those beefy twins on this cheese hound? Scram, Big Mac, go play with your extra toy bun. The adults are getting meaty.
Hurry to Carl's Jr. for the Big Carl. Feed your happy.
And he got trapped right along the baseline. And that's sort of the coffin corner, the last place you want to catch it. And Kansas having to burn a timeout as a result of that.
Bob Wischusen, Jay Billis on Super Tuesday, midway through the first half. Kansas trying to keep alive a 5-game win streak, and Texas trying to put a debilitating loss, allowing a big comeback by West Virginia Saturday afternoon in the rearview mirror. Abaji from the wing. That's his second three.
Boy, just too easy. Greg Brown cannot allow Ochai Abaji to shoot the ball that easily from the catch spot. You've got to make him put it on the deck. You know, in a lot of ways, basketball is really simple. You make shooters dribble, and you make drivers shoot.
Fade away for Jones. Rolls off the rim. Ripping it away is Kai Jones. He has it taken away by Bryce Thompson.
That was a really good rebound. Jalen Wilson mistimed his jump.
And Abaji will shoot three. Fouled by Matt Coleman.
Not sure whether Abaji kicked his leg out a little bit. I mean, you have to be able to land. And a little closeout here. Well, did he catch him on the arm a little bit? There was nothing below. Maybe he must have just ticked his arm.
Abaji's got 7 to lead Kansas early on ESPN Thursday night. The showcase brings you the Big Ten. Sonic blockbuster at 7 Eastern. Iowa, Michigan, 2 top 10 teams looking tremendous as we head towards March. And then at 9, Ohio State, Michigan State. Michigan State just wrapping up a win over Illinois as they take on the Buckeyes. Big Ten basketball Thursday at 7 and 9 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. That is a tremendous doubleheader.
I was able to catch a little bit of Michigan State and Illinois. It looked like Rocket Watts was back playing a little point guard for the Spartans, and they needed that win badly just for their mental health.
And over the back call here on Royce Ham. And I'm not sure how much of the Michigan-Ohio State game you watched on Sunday, but I thought that was about as high level a game as we've had in college basketball this season. That was tremendous play by both teams.
Yeah, and Michigan is just so good. What a fantastic team. Great back cut by Christian Brown. David McCormack out of the ball game with those 2 fouls. And that's an interior presence that's not out on the floor right now for Kansas. And Texas should take advantage of it going against this small lineup and get the ball to the rim.
There's a foul on Bryce Thompson.
Now, one thing for David McCormack, for any big guy that's relied upon by his team, you don't want to pick up a cheap one early. And Bill Self could play him with those 2 fouls, but right now in a 2-point game, it's just not worth the risk. And Kansas doing a nice job staying in front of drives.
Coleman missed from range. The back tap gets his own miss. Brown fights for the loose ball. Looks like he was able to bank it off of Royce Ham to get it to Kansas.
Really nice job here by Brown to knock the ball off of Royce Ham Jr. It's just an alert play by Christian Brown. Kansas playing small ball right now, and that means Jalen Wilson at the 5.
Matt Coleman just picked up his first. Back in a moment.
And congratulations to Texas' own Kevin Durant, selected as a team captain for the All-Star Game.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2021 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. With standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus up to 33 miles per gallon. An available 260 horsepower turbocharged engine, advanced technology, and an available extra-large touchscreen. The best Outback ever. The 2021 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you.
Lease a 2021 Outback Premium for only $289 a month for 36 months at Subaru Pacific. Complimentary maintenance included.
With a full range of BMW X vehicles available, no matter what adventure lies around the corner, there's an X for that.
Hurry in, lease a 2021 BMW X5 S-Drive 40i for $679 per month.
Well, if it isn't Big Carl, you fixin' to sauce me up? Sick those beefy twins on this cheese hound? Scram, Big Mac, go play with your extra toy bun. The adults are getting meaty.
Hurry to Carl's Jr. for the Big Carl. Feed your happy.
Jay, Iowa State is 2-16. Not just 0-13 in the league. They are 2-16 on the season. If they were to hold on and beat Baylor at Baylor, Could you think of a bigger upset that you could remember in college basketball?
Yeah, I'm sure if we put our heads together, we could come up with an even bigger one. I mean, Chaminade beating Virginia back in the day was a big one, but
yeah, UMBC.
It is the coming off pause thing too that has to be a contributing factor to the way this game has been played by Baylor. There's normally, and before they went on pause, that kind of thing would be unthinkable.
Old school off balance shot by Ramey comes up short. Kansas on an 11-2 run to open up this 4-point lead.
And with this smaller lineup, Kansas has been able to do a really good job of staying in front of drives. And now they can spread out this Texas defense. And there's no clogging of the middle with McCormick and Jericho Sims in there doing battle. It's really an interesting dynamic. I don't think Kansas would want to play like this for 40 minutes, but it's certainly causing some problems for Texas right now, and they're settling for jump shots instead of attacking the paint.
That'll be goaltending. Score the basket for Bryce Thompson, and this extends the Kansas lead.
Ball hit the backboard. Once hits the backboard, you got to leave it alone, or it's a goaltend. But Bob, on the offensive end for Texas, they've got to drive the ball and drive it, move it, and then attack a closeout, drive the ball, and drive to draw help. And once you draw help, then you can play drive and kick.
Hangs from the rim.
What an athlete he is. And at first I was wondering, what is Kai Jones doing? I mean, he threw a bullet pass, and it looked like it was one of those passes that could get intercepted or go out of bounds, but he knew exactly what he was doing. What a great play.
3 triples here in the first half for Ochai Agbaji. He's got 11, and he leads all scorers.
Yeah, Greg Brown has made too many defensive mistakes on Ochai Agbaji. He has got to be more aware of where Agbaji is all the time.
Good hands by Thompson. We're checked at DeJuan Harris into the backcourt, and it belongs to Kansas.
Well, it's a good job actually kicking that ball to keep Kansas from being able to corral it and go in and score. I mean, that was one of those that such a bad pass, you could wind up giving up Tom Izzo calls those turnovers for touchdowns, just an interception that's an easy bucket on the other end. I mean, 2-on-1s are great, but 1-on-0s are a lot better.
Matt Coleman sits down, replaced by Brock Cunningham. Bryce Thompson tried to scoop it, and he draws the foul on Andrew Jones.
Just a little dribble handoff, dribble weave action, and oftentimes what Kansas will do, instead of it being a handoff, it'll be just a short pitch, which makes it harder for the defense to switch it. They switch this, but Bryce Thompson able to turn the corner and get to the rim, and that little hesitation move helped them to get fouled as well. And Kansas right now, they're getting the shots that they want, and they're able to get downhill and get to the basket and really force this Texas defense to help and into rotation. Then they've kicked it out a couple times for open shots, Ochai Agbaji specifically.
Agbaji was 4 for his last 19 from 3 coming into tonight. He's now 3 for 5. And we talked to Bill Self earlier today, and I asked him, the turnarounds and your team looking like what your team can look like, is it as simple as guys like Ochai Agbaji and Christian Brown just hitting shots when they have an opportunity? He said, I don't think that's oversimplifying it at all. Here's a hit ahead to Thompson for an easy 2. Then Kansas extends the lead to 12.
Well, right now, Texas is just getting out-toughed by this small lineup from Kansas. A different look, and Kansas has taken advantage of it. Their defense has been very good. They've stayed in front of the ball. They've not allowed penetration. They've rebounded, and they've gotten some turnovers that have gotten them out ahead of the Texas defense. And if you can play ahead of the opposing defense, you can get easy shots, easy baskets. And that's what Kansas has been doing, Bob. They've been generating easy opportunities. Everything has been difficult, and some of it's been by choice for Texas. They've chosen or settled for the difficult jump shot.
That's Jay Billis. I'm Bob Wischusen. Kansas, you also mentioned this when we were on ESPNU, and certainly bears repeating now for ESPN. The defensive improvement that you've seen for Kansas, not just in this game, but really in this recent stretch, they've fed, it seems, according to Bill Self, off their defense.
No question. They've tightened it up. Now, they haven't played the most difficult schedule. They've sandwiched a few what you would call easier wins against lesser competition in the Big 12. Not that there's a whole lot of lesser competition, but there are some bottom teams. I mean, they started out beating Oklahoma State, who's very good in this 5-game stretch, and then just beat Texas Tech, who's a ranked team and I think an excellent basketball team. But their ball screen defense is better. They're zoning up behind the action. And trying to down it or freeze it. Another easy opportunity. The defense has dominated this game for Kansas. I mean, when was the last time Texas got an easy basket?
And off of their defense, Kansas is getting a lot of easy baskets. And that wing jumper not there for Cunningham. Offensive rebound. There's an easy basket on the putback by Kai Jones.
And that's what Texas needs, is to generate those extra possessions. And Kai Jones, so athletic and long, and nobody blocked him out.
Wild shot from Christian Brown.
And it was a strong drive. That was just a one-dribble drive, and he covered an awful lot of ground to get to the basket.
Cunningham tries again. That won't go. Coleman tried to keep it alive. Could not do it. A 23-6 run for Kansas to open up a 14-point lead. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2021 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. With standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus up to 33 miles per gallon. An available 260 horsepower turbocharged engine, advanced technology, and an available extra-large touchscreen. The best Outback ever. The 2021 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you.
Lease a 2021 Outback Premium for only $289 a month for 36 months at Subaru Pacific. Complimentary maintenance included.
With a full range of BMW X vehicles available, no matter what adventure lies around the corner, there's an X for that.
Hurry in, use the 2021 BMW X5 S-Drive 40i for $679. Come on.
They call you really big, Carl? Must be those triple sauce meat heaps. How about you cloak me in cheese? Drape me in a 3-piece patty suit like a beef tycoon.
The really big Carl is back. Feed your happy.
Personal foul, number 22, Kai Jones. His first 17th foul on all courts. Kansas and the Bulls.
All right, Kevin, thanks very much. And now at the free throw line is the story of the first half, Bryce Thompson. He's got 11.
Yeah, Bryce Thompson's been excellent in this game at both ends of the floor. He's done it in the half court, he's done it in the full court, and certainly done it defensively. He's a 2-time Oklahoma High School Player of the Year in that state. You know who's also at one time Oklahoma High School Player of the Year, Bob?
I can take a guess.
Bill Self.
There you go.
Bill Self, and that was when he was High School Player of the Year in the state of Oklahoma. Wayman Tisdale was in that state, Mark Price, and Steve Hale.
Wow.
How about that?
We had earlier this season Oklahoma State against Kansas when Oklahoma State was ranked and Kansas was unranked. The last time Oklahoma State played Kansas as a ranked team and KU was unranked, Bill Self was the point guard for Oklahoma State in that game. That's how long it had been.
Are you saying he's old?
He looks good, though. So Andrew Jones to the free throw line. As Bryce Thompson with 11 here in the first half. That already ties his second most points scored in a game this season.
Yeah, I think he had 12 against Gonzaga at the start of the year, but just a nice right-hand drive, and he's known as a right driver. At least that's what he prefers, but he's gone left a couple times. One off a screen roll action. He's gotten ahead of the defense on a run out. And with David McCormack sitting on the bench with 2 fouls, Kansas has jumped out to this 12-point lead. And you give a good amount of credit to Bryce Thompson for the excellent first half that he's played.
So McCormack continues to watch the smaller lineup get it done for Kansas with a 12-point lead. Wilson from the corner. Gets after his own miss. Swoops in, and that's blocked as Greg Brown stuffs him under the rim.
Well, he tried to go to the other side of the rim, and Greg Brown just crushed it.
And then sloppy at the offensive end for Texas as Greg Brown couldn't handle the entry pass.
Just a big-time block here. I mean, he got all ball. Beautiful.
That 3 is short for Wilson. Foul called on the drive by Ramey.
That was a really good job. Really good job by Texas there. They forced a jump shot, grabbed the rebound, and immediately threw an outlet pass so they could get something in transition. That's what they need to do, is try to score off their defense. It's been too much of a set defense for Kansas, where Texas is trying to go 5-on-5 in the half court. Kansas has scored a lot of points ahead of the Texas defense. Texas needs to do that to Kansas.
Pardon me, that foul on DeJuan Harris, his first. So Marcus Garrett and David McCormack both have 2. That's the only foul trouble here in the first half for Kansas. Brown from the wing.
Texas very fortunate there. Made a defensive mistake, and Brown was wide open.
That won't go for Greg Brown. Kept alive and thrown back in play by Donovan Williams, but it caroms to Jalen Wilson. Abaji. He's got another 3. His 4th made 3 here in the first half.
And all of his threes, Bob, have come without him even moving his feet. He gets his feet set, and the defense has not made him put the ball on the deck one single time. All his shots have come from the catch spot. The spots up in transition, little drive, and that one dribble by Bryce Thompson drew Greg Brown off of Ochai Agbaji. That one simple little dribble move, and got a wide open shot for a teammate. Really great job by Bryce Thompson.
And we talk about all the McDonald's All-Americans, and there have been 27 of them at Kansas that have been coached by Bill Self. Ochai Agbaji, at least according to Bill Self, I think he said he was ranked 365th in America when he committed to Kansas. I didn't know they went down that deep. I mean, what's the difference between the 364th player and Ochai Agbaji when you get down that deep? But they saw something in the local product from Kansas City, and he has proven them right.
He's more than worked out, hasn't he? He's not only a fine athlete, but he's a skilled player. I think he can be an even better rebounder.
Wilson draws the foul. He got Kai Jones airborne. ESPN's Saturday Showcase has some top matchups this weekend. 2 p.m. Eastern, Illinois will take on Wisconsin. And then at 4, we've got Florida State against North Carolina. A couple of good ones back-to-back. The Saturday Showcase at 2 and 4 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Not many teams playing better than Florida State right now. Last Monday, they took out Virginia and beat the Cavaliers pretty good. And North Carolina crushed. I couldn't believe the score of that North Carolina-Louisville game. Louisville coming off pause to the point we were making earlier about Baylor, but they beat them by like 30 or 40. It was ridiculous.
Under a minute to go in the first half. Kansas's largest lead, 14. Right now it's at 13, and a foul will be called on DeJuan Harris. So Kansas over the limit. It'll be free throws for Texas.
He was just trying to skinny up and get over that ball screen. Just went right into Matt Coleman, picked it up, and Texas has shot a lot of free throws. That's one of the things that has kept them in this game. Because when they haven't been fouled, they have shot a low percentage. Nothing has been easy. Kansas has dominated this game on the defensive end. The Jayhawks shooting 50%. Texas shooting about 32%, give or take.
Texas substitution, for Matt Coleman.
Cunningham back in for Coleman for defensive purposes with 49 seconds to go. And again, a little bit of an issue for Kansas breaking the pressure. Shot fake from Harris. The floater. No good. Cunningham with a wall off inside.
Could have gotten that all the way to the
one for Williams. Yes! The first made 3 for Texas as Donovan Williams knocks one down to get the lead back to single digits.
If Texas can get a stop here, the Longhorns would feel a lot better about themselves going into halftime.
Except Cunningham commits the foul that Shaka Smart apparently disagrees with.
Personal foul. Number 30, Rob Cunningham, his first. 19 count. All Longhorns.
So that'll put Jalen Wilson at the free throw line to shoot the 1-and-1.
Substitution. In the game for Texas, Matt Coleman for Rob Cunningham.
I think it's an advantage or a disadvantage to arguing with an official from behind a mask. Maybe the lip reading.
Probably an advantage. I mean, Shaka Smart was talking about that being a moving screen, and Jerry Pollard's telling him no, he screened and then rolled off, and the players got tangled up. Rather than, I think they called way too many moving screens anyway, but sometimes players are going to get tangled up. I'm not sure there should have been a foul called there at all, frankly.
5 seconds to go in the half. Greg Brown, straightaway 3. That won't go. And it will be a double-digit lead for KU at halftime, 43-32. Terrific first halves for Ochai Agbaji and Bryce Thompson. 43-32. Kansas leads at halftime with LaFonso Ellis and Seth Greenberg. The halftime report now with Kevin Nagandi.
All set up that Kansas played that first half at 8 points and 8 rebounds.
Well, Jay, our first half stats, as you can see, brought to you by Ally. It's just a continuation of what the theme has been during this 5-game win streak for Kansas, right? At the defensive end, they are making a difference and making it hard on the opposition. There's Greg Brown. Too little of that in the first half. Had some ugly shots from the outside, to say the least, but knocks down a three there.
Well, they were bad shots, I would say. And that was a good shot because Texas touched the paint first. So it collapsed the defense, and Greg Brown got a step-in three instead of forcing one up with a hand in his face.
That goes over the backboard on the drive by Jalen Wilson.
Greg Brown did a really nice job there of going up with straight up with both hands. It's almost like a more athletic Timothy Mozgov in the NBA, when he can just wall up and you have to go over him. That's not a foul if he goes straight up with two hands.
Coming up short was Andrew Jones on a wide open three.
Jones, Ramey, and Coleman really struggled in that first half. 2 of 13 combined for that trio.
Jones dribbled it out of bounds.
He's been out of sync for a couple of games now, Bob. Against West Virginia, he was 4 of 16 against the Mountaineers. He had 6 turnovers. He did have 9 points and 8 rebounds. He did some good things, but uncharacteristic mistakes and so many misses for a guy, as you pointed out, who's 3rd in the Big 12 in scoring in Big 12 games at 18 points a game.
Garrett needs help, picked up his dribble.
Got a switch.
Easy post up. And a cruise to the goal from McCormick as Greg Brown got lost.
Greg Brown had to switch off. Jericho Sims switched off, and he wound up on David McCormack, and he just sold out there. He didn't fight him down the low post, and McCormack got about as easy a basket as he's going to get in Big 12 play.
Brown down the lane, tried to dunk it from distance, and a foul was called.
Yeah, that's a good call. That had to be a foul. What an amazing takeoff that was. I mean, if he could have completed that, forget it. Now here's a little ball screen, a handoff, and then switch, and that's just way too easy. Greg Brown's got to fight, and you can't just sell out there. You got to fight for position and hold your ground. He's just a freshman, but that's the next step for him, is to be able to accept that physical challenge of a player like David McCormack. You're going to have to fight bigger guys. And if Greg Brown's going to be in the NBA at some point in the future, he might even be the near future, he's going to have to get stronger and fight in there.
But it was an interesting point that Shaka Smart made earlier today. Said that, Greg Brown didn't go to one of the big, gigantic basketball factories. He stayed in Austin and went to high school in Austin, so he didn't play against monster competition in high school. He basically didn't play against him. As Abaji tries another three and knocks down his 5th. And I guess there's that adjustment period, right? When you get to the Big 12, some guys are playing in high school against Big 12 level competition, and that was not what Greg Brown faced. He's got another 3, though.
Well, he's got a ton of ability. He's 4th in the Big 12 in rebounding. He averages just under 8 rebounds a game. He's 4th in blocks. This is just way too easy. I mean, Texas got lucky there. That should have been a dunk and a poster.
Ramey turns it over. Turnover number 11 for the Horns.
Just a ball screen up top. Nobody called it out. Coleman got totally taken out. There's nobody there to tag it. And Kansas does a really nice job of keeping great spacing and lifting everything up. So McCormick was really all by himself. A little slot pick and roll. They trapped it right there, but that's been giving Texas some issues.
Brown lost it. Had his pocket picked by Coleman. Jones for 3. That hit the backboard first.
And Bob, as poorly as Texas has played, they get a stop and a score. They're right back in this.
McCormick set up Garrett. Garrett couldn't knock it down. The rebound to Jericho Sims.
And Jericho Sims provides that bounce and athleticism that I think the Longhorns were missing in the first half.
Andrew Jones, the floater is good.
Got away with the push-off, but a strong move.
The largest lead for Kansas was 14. Texas has it down to 6. A little over 4 minutes gone by in the second half. Brown sets up Abaji, who hangs, hits the underside of the rim. McCormick is able to gather and get a fresh possession for the Jayhawks. Brown allows the flyby. Hits the three.
What a pretty shot fake. You got to close out a long distance. That shot fake is so effective to create that space, give you the extra time, and Christian Brown has a really good shot fake.
Senior day, and one of the best senior moments for Shaka Smart was welcoming Jericho Sims to the court. We'll explain.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2021 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. With standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus up to 33 miles per gallon. An available 260 horsepower turbocharged engine, advanced technology, and an available extra-large touchscreen. The best Outback ever. The 2021 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you.
Lease a 2021 Outback Premium for only $289 a month for 36 months at Subaru Pacific. Complimentary maintenance included.
With a full range of BMW X vehicles available, no matter what adventure lies around the corner, there's an X for that.
Hurry in, lease a 2021 BMW X5 S-Drive 40i for $679 per month.
They call you really big, Carl? Must be those triple sauced meat heaps. How about you cloak me in cheese? Drape me in a 3-piece patty suit like a beef tycoon.
The really big Carl is back. Feed your happy.
All is brought to you by Wendy's. Try the new jalapeno popper chicken sandwich and salad today at participating U.S. Wendy's. Jericho Sims on senior night with Shaka Smart, Bob Wishoes and Jay Billis, bringing you Kansas and Texas from Austin. And, Jay, talking to Shaka Smart earlier today, it was really heartwarming to hear him talk about Jericho Sims and the affection that he has for what Sims has become and how you don't have to be Mo Bamba or Jackson Hayes or Jared Allen to author a success story as a big man at Texas.
Everybody's on a different timetable, and Jericho Sims came in the same recruiting class as Mo Bamba, and I think believed that he would be an early entry into the NBA. Maybe not after his first year, but certainly before he graduated. He's been here 4 years. His trajectory and his timeline's been a little bit different than Bamba's and Hayes's, but he's had an excellent career, and I think he's got a chance to play in the NBA. His offense is still coming, and he's got to continue to work on it, but his athleticism, his shot blocking, his ability to run the floor, he's equipped for that. And I thought what was really interesting, Bob, I'm sure you did too, is when Shaka Smart was talking about him coming out of his shell, that he emotes more. He's such a quiet young man, a quiet player too at times, but he's had a great year.
A parallel story would be David McCormick at Kansas, right? I mean, both guys coming in heralded the way so many of either the one and done or the McDonald's All-Americans, the straight shot to the NBA type guys are, and yet both may find themselves eventually in the NBA after being 4-year players rather than one and done.
Yeah, and the one and done is for the super talents, but you know how it is. I mean, when you're that age, we were all the same. I mean, friend of yours makes all city and you think, well, I'm as good as he is. And when a friend of yours goes to the NBA, you think you're as good. And Texas has worked its way back into this game. They're getting stops. And to your point about Jericho Sims, he did a great job defensively to make David McCormack a possession ago take that little fadeaway and a difficult shot because Sims is playing good post defense and walling up behind him. But he makes him catch it off the lane. That's one thing. No angle to the basket. And then all of a sudden he's fading away, going over that left shoulder, that jump hook, instead of going toward the basket. It's a step or two further away, and that's a much more difficult move to make. And that's because Jericho Sims defended the post early and won the spot without giving an angle or a foot in the paint to David McCormack.
That first foul here in the second half on Kansas was on McCormack. That is his third. So he'll go back to the bench. We'll see how long Bill Self keeps him there with a 7-point lead. Wilson tripped up by Royce Ham. Big 12 now on ESPN Plus, a must-have for Big 12 fans. Check out the exclusive content only on the ESPN Plus app. Wednesday, February 24th, we'll have women's basketball between Texas and Kansas. Tuesday, March 2nd, men's games, TCU, Texas Tech, and Texas, Iowa State. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com/Big 12 now.
You know, Bob, you're in this league all the time, and still one of the best things about the Big 12, aside from the tremendous quality of play, is it's 10 teams and they play home and home. Everybody plays home and home. And there's just something about that when, you know, Texas beat Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse, and now they got the rematch in Austin. And there's something old school and beautiful about that I miss in other conferences.
Ramey wide open under the basket.
Oh, what a pass. The cut was fantastic, but the vision to see it from Matt Coleman, that was big time.
Wilson will go to the free throw line.
Just almost like a baseline drive, baseline drift. Courtney Ramey just made a vertical cut right to the rim. Nobody picked him up. Jalen Wilson just throwing his arms up in the air saying, what are we doing to allow something that easy? Usually on a baseline drive, you're worried about a baseline drift over to the corner along the baseline rather than somebody, you know, cutting from the wing right to the rim.
Stepping on the court for Texas, Brock Cunningham.
Yeah, to your point, Jay, it is interesting covering this league as often as I do, because not only do you have the home and home, so you're always hearing, you hear about in other leagues, but specifically in this league, always hearing about how well each team knows the other teams in the league. And boy, it seems like the coaches in this league are in this league forever. Right? So not only do the teams know each other because they play each other every year home and home, but at the same time, the coaches just, you know, I mean, Bill Self knows Bob Huggins and Bob Huggins knows Bill Self, and Shaka Smart even is kind of a newbie in this league, and he's been at Texas now for 6 years. So it's the stability of the coaching and how well these guys know each other certainly seems to bleed over onto the court.
Well, and so many of them have guided programs to the Final Four. Some of them multiple programs to the Final Four. And, you know, there's always been this statement I've heard out there about the Big Ten. And the Big Ten has great coaches, don't get me wrong. Just fabulous coaching. But the idea that the Big Ten is the best coached and the best scouted league. And I'm like, says who? I mean, you know, that doesn't make any sense. Like these other leagues aren't really well scouted. And this is a league, to your point, that I think is extraordinarily well scouted. A good defense by Andrew Jones to stay in front of Jalen Wilson on that drive.
Scooping is Harris. Couldn't get it to go. A chance for Texas to make it a one-possession game. Coleman fouled by Abaji.
Bob, can you see how Texas is doing a better job of getting a piece of the paint? They're attacking more, and that's really causing the Kansas defense to have to help and at times to rotate. And I'll tell you, Texas has been much tougher around the rim in this second half. Kansas has not had easy opportunities. Everything they're having to finish over long-armed and at times multiple Texas defenders at the rim.
Coleman fades away. Does not get the roll. The rebound to Bryce Thompson. Garrett lost the dribble, lost his footing. Somehow managed to get it to Abaji. He's on the deck as well. Andrew Jones pries it free. Traveling call. Wow. On Kai Jones trying to come away with the loose ball. I guess John Higgins thought he had possession and tagged him with a traveling call.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2021 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. With standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus up to 33 miles per gallon. An available 260 horsepower turbocharged engine, advanced technology, and an available extra-large touchscreen. The best Outback ever. The 2021 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you.
Lease a 2021 Outback Premium for only $289 a month for 36 months at Subaru Pacific. Complimentary maintenance included.
With a full range of BMW X vehicles available, no matter what adventure lies around the corner, there's an X for that.
Hurry in, lease a 2021 BMW X5 S-Drive 40i for $679 per month.
They call you really big, Carl? Must be those triple sauced meat heaps. How about you cloak me in cheese? Drape me in a three-piece patty suit like a beef tycoon.
The really big Carl is back. Feed your happy.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2021 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. With standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus up to 33 miles per gallon. An available 260 horsepower turbocharged engine, advanced technology, and an available extra-large touchscreen. The best Outback ever. The 2021 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you.
Lease a 2021 Outback Premium for only $289 a month for 36 months at Subaru Pacific. Complimentary maintenance included.
With a full range of BMW X vehicles available, no matter what adventure lies around the corner, there's an X for that.
Hurry in, lease a 2021 BMW X5 S-Drive 40i for $679 per month.
Well, if it isn't Big Carl, you fixin' to sauce me up? Sick those beefy twins on this cheese hound? Scram, Big Mac, go play with your extra toy bun. The adults are getting meaty.
Hurry to Carl's Jr. for the big Carl. Feed your happy.
Oh, man.
Well, Texas and Kansas are in Austin tonight, but they'll all be in Kansas City March 10th through the 13th for the Big 12 Championship. And as things stand right now, the Big 12 would have a ranked team in Texas Tech playing a play-in game just for the right to play in the quarterfinals as Ramey tries a three. That won't go. That just shows you the depth of this league.
Yeah, it's really incredible. Both the Big 10 and the Big 12 have proven to be the best leagues all year long, and Texas needs to get something going to the rim here. They've settled for jump shots.
That gets to the rim. Kai Jones.
The Longhorns have had success in attacking the paint, but especially in transition. I don't think right now in this type of game is where you pull up for a three in transition.
A steal by Andrew Jones. Tries to go coast to coast. Draws the foul on Marcus Garrett. Andrew Jones will go to the free throw line to try and tie the game.
Texas has Kansas on the run right now, and that's why I don't think you want to settle for a jump shot here. Keep getting to the rim. And a good pass by Brock Cunningham, and then an even better pass by Courtney Ramey to Kai Jones. But even in that last transition opportunity, when Andrew Jones got it all the way into the paint, forced the foul by an excellent defender, Marcus Garrett. That was a really smart play by Andrew Jones.
Now, Jay, you called the first game between these two teams. It was a lopsided blowout by Texas at Allen Fieldhouse, dominated by the guards, right? Andrew Jones, Matt Coleman, Ramey, they had a great collective game. They have played not nearly as impactful a game to this point, but I guess to your point, they're starting to assert themselves, and we're seeing it on the scoreboard.
They're starting to heat up, I agree. And in that first game, David McCormick was kind of taken out of the game by Jericho Sims as well. And Kansas is a much better team now than they were then. But right now, Texas is showing a lot more fight than they showed in the first half. Much more alert on both ends of the floor and attacking on both ends.
McCormick out of a double team finds Garrett.
Well, that was a beautiful cut by Marcus Garrett. The double team came over to McCormick, and he just threw that right over his shoulder. Beautiful. Great passing.
Ramey sets up Cunningham. He tries again and gets it outside to Jones. Jones, spin cycle. It's on time for Kai Jones.
Give great credit there to Brock Cunningham. I don't know how he does it, but he just comes up with offensive rebounds. And that offensive rebound he got didn't lead to his basket, but it ultimately led to Kai Jones's.
Garrett to Wilson. That won't go. A chance for Texas to take the lead.
Well, really, the three-point attack's been Agbaji and Brown. Brown hit one, Agbaji 5. That's it. Good pass.
Gives them the lead from downtown. Kansas at one point led by 14. Texas by 3. And Bill Self wants a timeout.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2021 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. With standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus up to 33 miles per gallon. An available 260 horsepower turbocharged engine, advanced technology, and an available extra-large touchscreen. The best Outback ever. The 2021 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you.
Lease a 2021 Outback Premium for only $289 a month for 36 months at Subaru Pacific. Complimentary maintenance included.
With a full range of BMW X vehicles available, no matter what adventure lies around the corner, there's an X for that.
Hurry in, lease a 2021 BMW X5 S-Drive 40i for $679 per month.
Well, if it isn't Big Carl, you fixin' to sauce me up? Sick those beefy twins on this cheese hound? Scram, Big Mac, go play with your extra toy bun. The adults are getting meaty.
Hurry to Carl's Jr. for the Big Carl. Feed your happy.
Andrew Jones and Courtney Ramey had to be separated at one point in a huddle in the second half. And the comeback loss by West Virginia over Texas on Saturday. A totally different chemistry tonight between Ramey and Jones. And rather than being up by 14, fighting on the bench and losing. They were down by 14 to Kansas and now have come back to take the lead with 9 minutes to go. Bob Wischusen and Jay Billis. It's a great game in the Big 12 on Super Tuesday.
Yeah, we've seen a tale of two halves. Texas has come out in the second half, and they've been much more aggressive at both ends of the floor. Look how alert the defense has been, and Jalen Wilson knocking down the three from the corner.
Wilson, his first 3 in 5 tries. The net got tangled, but we are tied again with 8:45 to go.
Texas running their chin action. A called play.
Ramey off balance. Cunningham tried to keep it alive. That did. That's just another Brock Cunningham kind of play.
It's really unbelievable. He just goes after the ball. I mean, he must lead the Big 12 in per minute loose balls.
He went from a guy that last season didn't play in 15 of the first 24 games for Texas to a guy that now averages 17 minutes a game because of hustle plays just like that.
Yeah, he plays so hard, and to be able to get you extra possessions, you can't find that
Coleman.
very many places.
He thought it was an and one. And what's the call? Was it a moving screen? They called traveling on Matt Coleman. Abaji. And Cunningham has the rebound.
Now, McCormick does a really good job of passing out of the post, especially looking opposite. But Jericho Sims is pushing him off the lane, and Texas is feeling it. Courtney Ramey coming off a 28-point game against West Virginia. If he can get hot again, what a turnaround for Texas. This is not the team that played in the first half, I know that.
Talk about flipping the script. They blew a big lead against West Virginia Saturday as Wilson hits a floater to make it a one-point game. Can they play the come-from-behind role? As they've already erased a 14-point deficit. And they've got a 1-point lead coming up on 7 minutes to go. Ramey down the lane. Gives it up to the easy flush of Jericho Sims.
Right now, Texas is spreading the floor. And they're playing high and wide and really spreading out this Kansas defense and driving them. And they're getting Kansas to help and able to just drop it off for easy baskets.
Trying to throw one down was McCormick off the feed from Christian Brown. Shaka Smart's team trying to hold on. They've got a 3-point lead. He's got a head of hair again. By the way, that was not lost on Mo Bamba. We'll explain when we come back.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2021 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. With standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus up to 33 miles per gallon. An available 260 horsepower turbocharged engine, advanced technology, and an available extra-large touchscreen. The best Outback ever. The 2021 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you.
Lease a 2021 Outback Premium for only $289 a month for 36 months at Subaru Pacific. Complimentary maintenance included.
With a full range of BMW X vehicles available, no matter what adventure lies around the corner, there's an X for that.
Hurry in, lease a 2021 BMW X5 S-Drive 40i for $679. Come on.
Well, if it isn't Big Carl, you fixin' to sauce me up? Sick those beefy twins on this cheese hound. Scram, Big Mac, go play with your extra toy bun. The adults are getting meaty.
Hurry to Carl's Jr. for the Big Carl. Feed your happy.
The hair out. He was thinking about cutting it all back off after quarantine was over. His wife and daughter, though, fell in love with the full head of hair and said, no, we think you should keep it. But then he said he was FaceTiming with Mo Bamba. Maybe he's having second thoughts because Mo said, you know who you look like, right? Said, no, I don't. Well, who do you think I look like? And Mo said, stand by. I'll text you a picture of who I now think you look like. This is the picture that came across Shaka Smart's phone from Mo Bamba. So maybe he's going to have second thoughts about keeping the cabbage.
He should keep it. He looks very nice. Very nice with the cabbage.
Agree. Well, if your wife and daughter both think that it looks good on you, then I don't think you really have much choice, right?
Well, speaking as one that has zero choice in the matter, if I could grow hair, I would. And a 2-3 zone right now for Kansas, trying to keep Texas out of the lane. Kansas went 2-3 zone against Texas Tech in Lubbock because of the same reason. I mean, they could not keep the Red Raiders out of the lane.
Brock Cunningham commits a foul, but that's a hustle foul as he was trying to create the steal and just about did.
Personal foul, number 30, Brock Cunningham, his second.
They called a foul on that? Wow.
On Brock Cunningham.
Wow. That is not a good call. That is nothing but incidental contact for a loose ball.
And I think that's exactly what Shaka Smart was saying. He dove for the ball. That's the only thing that I think Shaka was thinking would be necessary to say, but Cunningham still gets tagged with his second.
Yeah, I don't agree with that one. There's more contact on a free throw blockout than that.
Abaji's stuck on 17 and has been for a while. Gets an open look here. It rolls off the rim. Ripped away by Jalen Wilson.
But aside from not corralling that rebound, Jericho Sims is doing a really nice job on David McCormick, not allowing him position down low.
Brown to Garrett. Won't go for three. Offensive rebound McCormick, but he lost it. Had it right in his hands and lost it on the bounce. Ramey. That's off the mark. The loose ball fought for, and it caroms to Jalen Wilson.
Well, Kansas right now, in the second half, Kansas has labored to score.
It's another double-double for Jalen Wilson. He's got double-doubles now in 6 of his last 7 games. 14 points, 11 rebounds in this one.
Yeah, he had 11 points, 11 rebounds, a couple of steals against Texas Tech. But 4 of 12 from the field in this game, 1 of 5 from 3.
$15 now for Wilson, and we're tied again. And look at this Showtime Lakers lineup we have for you coming up this week. LeBron and the Lakers in Utah. That's a great game on Wednesday to take on the Jazz, the owners of the league's best record. Then Friday, it's Lakers Blazers, and then on Sunday they'll host Steph and the Warriors. All 3 of these great matchups are also available on the ESPN app.
Every time I watch the Warriors play, and I love watching Steve Kerr's team, I get heartbroken again for Klay Thompson.
Yes.
I just miss seeing him out there. This 2-3 zone, you still have to penetrate it. Get into some gaps. Make 2 play 1, then you can kick it.
Shot clock at 2. Jones forces one. Kept alive, thrown to the corner by Jericho Sims, but no one home.
Bob, that's exactly the shot that Kansas went into the zone to make Texas take. You know, a shot that the ball just went around the perimeter. They never really penetrated a gap. to make two defenders play one so they could kick it and get an advantage situation. They just took a deep three toward the end of the clock over the outstretched arm of a defender.
McCormick in the post on Sims. Leans in. Can't get it to go. Sims had the rebound and he's fouled by McCormick. That's his fourth.
That ball needed to go into McCormick right away. As soon as Ochai Agbaji caught the ball, he needed to get it inside. But instead he waited, and then McCormick had to catch the ball just outside the lane. That just waiting that instant allowed Jericho Sims to push McCormick off the lane, and that's one of the reasons he wound up picking that fourth foul. Sims has done a great job in this second half on McCormick, just like he did at Allen Fieldhouse. He basically shut him off there, and he's done the same thing here.
Lobs it to Sims, and Texas, with 4 minutes to go, has the lead back.
That's the difference between penetrating a zone and settling for a jump shot. The penetration caused the defense to come up, and you just throw it to the rim to Jericho Sims.
McCormick turns it over.
Penetration against a zone can be debilitating. Just that little penetration, McCormick's got to come up to stop the drive, and then Jericho Sims from the dunker spot shows how to do it.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit Progressive.com. And in part by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2021 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. With standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus up to 33 miles per gallon. An available 260 horsepower turbocharged engine, advanced technology, and an available extra-large touchscreen. The best Outback ever. The 2021 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you.
Lease a 2021 Outback Premium for only $289 a month for 36 months at Subaru Pacific. Complimentary maintenance included.
With a full range of BMW X vehicles available, no matter what adventure lies around the corner, there's an X for that.
Hurry in, use the 2021 BMW X5 S-Drive 40i for $679. Come on.
They call you really big, Carl? Must be those triple sauce meat heaps. How about you cloak me in cheese? Drape me in a three-piece patty suit like a beef tycoon.
The really big Carl is back. Feed your happy.
A chance for Shaka Smart's team to flip the script from the loss they had to West Virginia on Saturday.
And the idea that you could have an opportunity to flip a script this soon after is really remarkable. But you hang around the game long enough, you're going to see just about everything. Kansas back to man now.
Ramey, 8 to shoot. On the move. Fouled. So Courtney Ramey will go to the free throw line to try and extend the Texas lead.
In a lot of ways, Courtney Ramey is the heart and soul of this Texas team. He's a competitor that never really seems to take a play off, and he's so tough-minded. That was just a tough drive. He was able to get his shoulders past Ochai Agbaji and still stayed low. Agbaji had not much choice other than to foul him. But Ramey he's really improved his shooting too. Last year he shot, I think, 31%, 30% from three, and he's around 45% from three this year. He's really become a reliable shooter and knocks his free throws down as well.
He hits free throws here. Texas has been very good at the line, and they've got a 4-point lead.
Texas shooting more free throws and making more of the ones they shoot than Kansas. That's been the difference in the game, really.
McCormick leans in. Goaltending. Jericho Sims got it as it was over the cylinder.
Texas had a chance to intercept that pass from the weak side. Just missed it. Awfully close. Just the idea that Jericho Sims could get up and do that is impressive. Who cares if it's goaltending? It's fun to watch.
Billis-esque.
It's like stuff you do in your Nerf hoop at home.
Ramey drives it, floats it, can't get it to go. Offensive rebound, Jericho Sims. Throws it back out. Diving play by Brown. And gets the timeout.
What a play by Christian Brown. Great rebound by Jericho Sims. He gets trapped underneath the basket, tries to get it back out, and it's intercepted. I mean, that was like a football player there. He had 5 players in there, and he recovered to the ball, and that's just a spectacular hustle play by Christian Brown.
There's Colt McCoy. Speaking of football players, legendary Texas quarterback for Mack Brown here in Austin.
I hope he doesn't lean on the plexiglass.
So after the hustle play by Christian Brown, a chance for Kansas to tie or take the lead with 2.5 to go. Marcus Garrett floats it, won't go. It's out of bounds off of Kansas.
And David McCormick went up for that rebound. He lost a shoe when he came down. Got to put it back on. Usually when a player steps out of his shoes in a game like this, you haven't tied him well enough.
Sims shakes and bakes. Ended up too far under the backboard.
Little contact there, no call. But I like the aggressiveness going one-on-one there. That's a play that Jericho Sims can and should have finished. It was a good idea.
Got caught under the backboard too deep as well. And Cunningham ends up with the rebound. Although Bill Self and the entire Kansas bench thought that maybe he traveled when he fell to the ground.
That was a good no call. If it would have been called to travel, you would have had to call a foul on David McCormick because he hit him. I mean, he bumped him there.
Coleman back up top to Jones. Rims out a 3.
Boy, Jones has not shot threes well the last couple of games. I think he's like 2 of his last 17 now. He's 1 of his last 11 coming in.
And 1 for 7 tonight. And now a foul on Coleman.
Personal foul number 2, Matt Coleman, his 3rd, 16 fouls.
So that was the last foul to give for Texas. Each team now with 6 team fouls. So the last minute 7, we could have some 1-on-1s here. It'll be a side out for Kansas, down by 2 with just over a minute to go.
Yeah, there's a long way to go in this one. A lot's going to happen in this last minute 7 of regulation. Who knows if that'll be the end of it.
A foul called, I think, on Jericho Sims, holding David McCormick on the entry.
That's not the time to call a foul in the post. I mean, after all that's gone on in this game, you're going to give free throws on post defense. That's a bad call. That's a bad call. In this game, please.
Not only that, but you foul an 81% free throw shooter who misses the front end of the 1-and-1.
Timeout, Texas.
Timeout called by Texas. So Texas with a 2-point lead, and Bob Shoes and Jay Billis watching a very entertaining game between these two teams on Super Tuesday. And Jay, what has impressed you the most about Texas tonight, just mentally coming back from what they allowed to happen to themselves to West Virginia on Saturday and losing the way that they did?
Well, that's a great question, a great point at the same time. That who knows how a team is going to respond after you feel like you pitched away a game you should have won. They were up by double digits when Courtney Ramey and Andrew Jones got in that little spat. I don't think that was the reason why they lost, but it was a contributing factor. And then they came back in the first half, played poorly, got beaten up a little bit in that first half. And in the second half came out and really established their defense, and the offensive attack was much more focused to get the ball in the paint. And that's what they have to do right now down the stretch, is not settle for jump shots, get the ball into the paint. If you kick it out to a jump shooter, you can shot fake, attack the closeout. If you get a catch and shoot opportunity, that's when you take it, when it's been off good action. But the second half, Texas has been a completely different basketball team.
Courtney Ramey was 7 of 8 from 3, a career-high 28 points in the loss on Saturday to West Virginia. He's only 1 for 4 from 3 tonight, and Andrew Jones 1 of 7 from 3. So the playmaking guards have made plays going to the rim because their outside shooting for the most part has betrayed them.
Well, Matt Coleman is a player, he's a senior. He's a player that does not mind taking the last shot. In fact, he wants to take the last shot. He's hit a couple game winners this year. One of them was against North Carolina in the Maui Invitational, played in Asheville, North Carolina.
In the hands of Coleman. 45 seconds to go.
The shot he had in that was a step back.
He's got a step back here. In and out. Brown corrals the rebound. About a 6-second differential.
That ball could not have been any more down before it came out.
McCormick, cross court, Abaji. 12 to shoot. McCormick sets a screen. Bill Self doesn't like it. Calls timeout with 9 on the shot clock and 15 seconds to go in the game. That's the last Kansas timeout. And Coleman can't believe it. I think that's probably still, Jay, the reaction to, can you believe that shot that I took didn't go down?
Yeah, he thought that was in. Jalen Wilson catching up, and he just put him on skates a little bit. That thing was in before it came out. I don't think a ball can be any more in the basket and still come out than that one. But right now, Bill Self, as you mentioned, didn't like what he was seeing, didn't feel like his team was going to get a good shot. And if you'll remember, Kansas won a game at Texas Tech. It was out of bounds underneath. They just out-executed the Red Raiders in out-of-bounds plays. I believe this ball is going to be side out of bounds, so it's a little bit of a different action. And a very different place to inbound the basketball. It's a lot easier to score quickly out of bounds underneath. But Kansas executes really well in their out of bounds plays.
And no one ever seems to get more of what they're looking for off of out of bounds plays where Bill Self has a chance to draw something up than Kansas does. So I guess be Bill Self. I mean, where would you want this to go with 9 on the shot clock?
Well, I mean, you can run action to get a jump shot. You can run action to get a lob, which he has done, and it's a little more difficult from a side out of bounds position to lob it. That's what they ultimately did. They ran a little circle action a couple times at Texas Tech and wound up getting a lob to win the game. But also, you got a play called as soon as you get it in.
It's Garrett off balance. The follow by McCormick ties it with 8 seconds to go. Now Texas has 2 timeouts. Will they use one?
Shouldn't go. You got to go.
Ramey for the win. Overtime.
Final score regulation play. Texas 66, Kansas 66. We'll be heading to overtime.
Bonus basketball. Texas, Kansas headed to overtime. Tied at 66. And we'll come back in 15 seconds.
Give the defense a chance to foul you and you a chance to make an aggressive play.
And that was some of the best stuff that happened earlier, brought to you by Papa John's. But you're right, Jay, the best stuff we've seen from Texas was the opposite of what we just saw to end regulation for the Longhorns.
Yeah, Coleman did a nice job staying in front of Marcus Garrett. Didn't get any kind of call. There was no foul called at all. Which I think was the right call, was a no call. But when Sims went over to block that shot, you got to rotate over, and that opened up the offensive glass for McCormick.
They go to McCormick to start overtime. He sets up Brown, and it pays off for 3.
Boy, that was a big-time play by David McCormick. First, the shot fake to get Sims into the air, and then the terrific pass.
Just as good a reverse by Matt Coleman to make it a 1-point game.
I think Texas has to keep doing that. Keep attacking off the dribble. They've had great success in the second half getting a piece of the paint off the dribble.
Brown picked up his dribble, double teamed. It's Abaji that bails him out. Here comes Coleman the other way. Off to Ramey. Jones will drive it. Brock Cunningham in traffic. Tries to save it. And it looks like he threw it off his teammate.
Good things have happened when Kansas has let David McCormick touch the ball. Pick and roll. Well defended.
It's into McCormick now. Brown will drive it. Gives it up to McCormick. Stepped on the end line. He went to pivot around Jericho Sims and stepped on the baseline.
Brown should have taken that shot. That was a tough pass, tough catch. He wasn't that close to the line. Maybe it's just because he's wearing white shoes. I didn't see him step on the line. But it was close.
Seven on the shot clock. Ramey straight away on Brown. 4 to shoot. Poked away. Ramey's got it. 1 on the shot clock. It expires. And it belongs to Kansas.
Yeah, just a different kind of attack for Texas. Just a lot of dribbling and not going anywhere. So it was an effective use of the dribble. And trying to split that when he's going off the high ball screen, trying to split the defenders. And just anytime you try to do that, you're bringing in the opportunity to get knocked away.
McCormick in a double team. Andrew Jones took it away. Tries to go coast to coast. Finishes with the left hand.
Looks like he got hit. Looked like he got hit going up, but still finished the play. That was a really alert play defensively. Jones almost got one of those a little bit earlier in the second half, but came over. You have to look at the weak side when you're feeding the post. You're not only throwing to the offense, you're reading the defense.
Jalen Wilson fouled on the drive.
Making the pass in, you can see Jones just behind. Now, Baji's got to see that. He's got to. McCormick can't see behind him, so Baji's got to do that for him, and that pass shouldn't have been thrown.
Wilson.
Wilson now 6 of 9 at the free throw line. And Kansas, a mediocre at best 11 of 19. Only a 64% free throw shooter. He's got the second. And we are tied with 2:15 to go in overtime.
Marcus Garrett on Matt Coleman. 2 veteran guards going head to head down the stretch of overtime.
Andrew Jones leans in, blocked by Brown.
I just don't think you're going to get a scoop shot in this type of game to go. You're going to have to go stronger than that one.
Looks like Shaka Smart wants a timeout. With less than 2 minutes to go in overtime. Again, Kansas has won 5 in a row. And we were wondering how good this Kansas team was. You start off the 5-game win streak, Jay, as you said, with a solid win against Oklahoma State. But then back-to-back wins against Iowa State, a win against Kansas State. Staring at 3 games to end the season. Texas Tech, Texas, and Baylor. All really good, ranked teams from the start of the season all the way through. They beat Texas Tech on Saturday. And they're in overtime now against Texas. So it just seems like a Kansas team that is, as we approach March, coming into its own and starting to prove that they're actually a Kansas team to be taken seriously again.
Well, yeah, they're to be taken seriously. This is a good basketball team. It is not a vintage Kansas team. It is not a team that I think is going to be knocking on the door of a Final Four, which the Jayhawks always seem to be doing. It's interesting. I think West Virginia, and they've had so many games taken away from protocols and postponed and all that stuff. You kind of wonder what's going to happen with West Virginia down the stretch, because I think that's, even after Oscar Tshiebwe left, that's a team that I think could be a handful in the NCAA tournament.
Coleman turned it over, trying to dribble his way through a double team. McCormick, the jump hook. Yes.
It looked like Texas was going to double, but did not. And it was one-on-one in the post. And that was defended very well by Jericho Sims. There's a foul now. Is that the last one? Is that out for McCormick? Is that 5?
That's number 5 on McCormick.
Number 33, David McCormick. That is his 5th personal foul.
So McCormick fouls out for the second time this season. He is done for the game with 12 points to go along with 4 rebounds.
That's one you just got to let him go. I'm not saying you play Matador defense and just open up completely, but you just can't foul there. That's not worth getting your 5th with this much time remaining and a 2-point lead.
Now, as much of a disadvantage as it is to foul out McCormick for Kansas, when he was in foul trouble earlier in this game and they went small, that was one of the most effective periods of the game that they had. So is that what Bill Self comes back with, that same lineup?
Well, he doesn't have a choice, but the difference is you had Jericho Sims sat out the entire time that David McCormick did, because Sims had 2 fouls as well. And you can keep him in the game here if you want. Kai Jones has come in. But Jericho Sims can move his feet, and he can guard a smaller player. And Jones is long-armed. It's a little bit of a different scenario, but it'll be interesting to see how these lineups fare down the stretch.
1 of 2 at the line for Coleman, so it's a 1-point Kansas lead. Abaji, too strong.
Abaji he's not down there much. That's an unusual place for him to try to score from. And it was very smart of Texas just to wall up and make him score over you. And that's one where you gotta score or get fouled. And Ramey did a nice job of just, watch him here. He just walls up and makes him score over without fouling him.
And then Brown fouled Ramey outside what would be the NBA three-point line, and fouls an 81% free throw shooter, good for 9th best in the Big 12. Ramey's 8 for 8 now at the line.
Well, this is about getting a stop. Talk about getting loose balls, getting a defensive rebound. Kansas doing a lot of dribbling now too. Ball's not moving.
Garrett to Abaji. That's off the mark. And the rebound pulled down by Andrew Jones. There's only about a 3-second differential. So Bill Self tells his team they have to go foul, and a timeout called by Courtney Ramey in the backcourt.
Well, right now, with Texas having to inbound the ball, Kansas has an opportunity here to go for a steal, get a quick trap, and see if they can force a turnover before they foul. There's plenty of time here. 25.7 and remaining in the first overtime is plenty of time. So you want to extend the game, yes, but if you can go after the ball and you happen to foul, that's fine. But I don't think you just foul here. You go for the ball, get a quick trap, see if you can force a turnover more than anything.
On a tangent, there's no sport that's probably been hurt more not having fans in the building than college basketball. How great would this game have been tonight with a sold-out arena?
Oh, it'd be fantastic. I mean, if we didn't have COVID to deal with, you and I'd be sitting courtside, and then there'd be tacos on 6th Street afterwards.
That's right. Just can't wait to get fans back in the building to create the atmospheres that we should have at games like this right now. And now Kansas will try and bottle up Jones. He unloads an uncomfortable looking pass to Ramey. Now it's Coleman. And at some point, Kansas has to give a foul. Coleman tied up. Garrett finally does with 12 seconds to go in the game.
I mean, there was some time that went off the clock, but I like the strategy of they had opportunities to force Texas to turn the ball over. And if Coleman, who's a good free throw shooter, shoots 83%, if he knocks them both down, it's still a one-possession game. And it's still enough time, Bob, where Kansas could get it all the way down court, get a quick 2, and put them in the same position again to have to shoot free throws.
So Bob Shoes and Jay Billis, 12 seconds to go in overtime. Sports Center with Scott Van Pelt is standing by, and that will take over as soon as we're done with this game. Now from the standpoint of Kansas, if you're Bill Self, are you drawing up like multiple plays with multiple deficits in mind, or do you have one set play to get a shot after however this works out free throws wise?
You have different scenarios. So if the free throw's missed, you want to take it down, you're going to have a scenario for that. If Coleman makes them both and you're down 3, you're going to have a scenario for that. And if he makes them both, I think you want to get the ball down court as quickly as you can and get it to the rim. And if they give you the quick 2, take it. If you can get defenders to converge and then you can kick it out for a 3, and it's an open 3 and a good one, take it. But I say take it to the rim first. If they foul you, fine. If you get the layup, fine. But there's still you can get it down in 4 or 5 seconds, and you can still go for steal, foul, and you're in the same position you were before.
This is still a 1-and-1, and it's knocked down by Coleman. Now, did Shaka Smart in that huddle say to his guys, if we make both and we're up 3, at what point on the clock we want to foul and not allow a 3?
Absolutely. And that's something they practice and talk about. There's no question. But now you got to play it out. 2-point game.
1 timeout left for Kansas. Instead, cruising to the rim and losing it is Jalen Wilson. He had a layup, and he simply lost the ball.
Wasn't touched. It had a clear line to the basket.
Home run pass. Caught in the front court by Jones. And he is fouled by Abaji with 5.6 seconds to go.
Wilson going to the basket here. Took a little bump from Matt Coleman, but just lost the ball out of bounds. He was not going to have any. He might have caught Kai Jones out of the corner of his eye and was thinking about how he was going to creatively finish or get fouled. But when Kai Jones was pulled down and fouled, the way he got up was pretty acrobatic.
5.6 seconds to go. And Kai Jones, there's the athleticism. Now he needs to finish at the free throw line.
That's pretty impressive.
And now will Texas foul if he makes this free throw? He does. And a timeout call. And maybe that's Shaka Smart's opportunity to talk that exact strategy over.
Yeah, if you are going to foul, you want to bring up some full court pressure and slow the advance and then foul once it gets across half court when you get down to, 2 seconds.
What would you do?
You foul. I mean, I foul here. Unless you have zero confidence in your team's ability to grab a rebound. I remember years ago when John Calipari had I think it was 2010, he had an unbelievable team. And he was playing against Mississippi State. And Mississippi State fouled up 3. And I remember thinking that's not the right play against this team because they can really rebound. And they wound up going to overtime. I can't remember exactly what happened, but with the final. But that was not the right thing to do there against that particular team. But I think Texas can certainly rebound, and so I would foul.
The only other team, and if Texas wins this game, they would become the second to ever sweep a home-and-home series in the regular season against a Bill Self Kansas team, was Oklahoma State in the 2017-2018 season. Here we go. Jalen Wilson is fouled. So the clear strategy at play for Texas, they were not going to allow a three-point shot.
And the reason you do that, Bob, is because, look, you can't lose in this scenario. You can only be tied unless you're dumb enough to foul a three-point shooter and make it. But so many things have to happen for Kansas for them to tie this up. They got to make the first free throw, they got to miss the second, they got to get the rebound, and then they have to score after that. That's a lot of things in succession to happen. And the odds drop when you put Kansas in this situation. But the key now for Texas is block out and go after the ball.
Jethro Muscadin is in the game as well. Remember, David McCormick is fouled out, so arguably your best hope for an offensive rebound is on the bench out of the game, having fouled out.
You have to climb somebody's back, climb their back.
Wilson misses the first free throw, and that will do it. It is a season sweep for Texas over Kansas in overtime. The Horns win it 75-72. And for tonight's Player of the game brought to you by Phillips 66, Courtney Ramey. And for the most part, he did his work at the free throw line. Clutch free throws in the second half, 8 of 8 at the line, and 15 points in all to lead Texas.
Texas fans, horns up for the
A fun game.
Texas.
A bounce back for Texas after blowing the lead against West Virginia on Saturday. And they end the 5-game win streak for Kansas. And Texas wins it. Thanks a lot for joining us. For Jay Billis and our entire crew, I'm Bob Wischusen. It's time for Sports Center with Scott Van Pelt. Scotty, what's the best thing you saw today?